Ask any diehard Friends fan what makes the sitcom legendary, and they won't say it's just the jokes. It's the feeling. Friends is like that cozy corner of your home where you can relax, let go of the world, and smile at the familiar. It's an emotional comfort, just as iconic as its humor, unforgettable characters, and unforgettable storylines. But did you know that there were a lot of ideas the writers scrapped? Storylines that could have totally changed the show we know and love today? From alternate endings to plot twists that never made it to the screen, Friends had some wild ideas that were either abandoned or reworked to keep the core of the show intact. Sure, there were some misses and jokes that wouldn't fly in today's cultural climate. But if you are wondering what else could have been there, First Curiosity is taking you on the ride of one with the scrapped and altered plot lines that might just make you go,
I mean, isn't that just kick you in the crotch, spit on your neck fantastic?
10. Joey and Phoebe's romance. Could you picture Joey and Phoebe as a couple? While their bond was definitely the pinnacle of friendship, the writers briefly considered turning it into a romance. There was talk of them casually hooking up behind the other's backs, something that seemed totally plausible given their free-spirited nature. This idea has appealed to Matt LeBlanc and Lisa Kudrow too, but after much thought, they decided to keep their Joey and Phoebe's equation purely platonic, and thank goodness for that. Their friendship was one of the purest things about the show. 9. The Silent Gunther. Gunther was one of Friends' best background characters. But did you know he was originally supposed to be silent? In the first season, Gunther was just a background extra who served coffee. No lines, no snarky remarks, just the face behind the counter at Central Perk. It wasn't until later that they decided to give him some classic one-liners, turning him into the dry-witted, Ross-hating character we all love to watch. 8. The original Joey was not naive. Joey Tribbiani, the lovable, clueless ladies' man we all adore, could have been very different. Originally, Joey was supposed to be smart. He still had the charm, but instead of the warm and funny goof we grew to love, Joey would have been more intellectual, even if not a genius. The writers quickly realized that making him too similar to Chandler would throw off their dynamic, so they dialed Joey down. So we saw Joey misinterpreting jokes or being slow on the uptake, that is, if he got the point at all. His obliviousness, harmless ignorance, and lack of common knowledge made him endearing. We wouldn't trade it for the world, though. Joey's innocence and Chandler's sarcasm were the perfect recipe for some of Friends' best moments. Keeping their relationship a secret. We all remember that heartwarming scene where Rachel gets off the plane in the end. But did you know there was another ending planned? Originally, the writers debated having Rachel move to Paris on her own to pursue her dream job. The idea was to leave her relationship with Ross more ambiguous and let her grow independently, which would be true to her character arc. But ultimately, they decided against it, fearing that leaving Ross and Rachel's romance unresolved would be a disservice to fans and to the Lobster couple. Would Friends' finale have been better without that emotional reunion? 6. Kathy's exit, a fuzzy goodbye. Kathy was the girl who came between Joey and Chandler and broke both their hearts. Initially, her exit was planned as a career-driven move, with Kathy going off on an acting tour. But that would have left the door open for unresolved tension between Chandler and Joey, which didn't sit right. Instead, Kathy was written out in a way that gave both Joey and Chandler the closure they needed. 5. Chandler and Phoebe's lackluster roles. Imagine Friends without Chandler's sarcasm or Phoebe's quirks. Unthinkable, right? Yet there was a time when the show almost relegated Chandler and Phoebe to secondary characters. In early drafts, Friends was all about Ross, Monica, Rachel, and Joey. Chandler was going to be a sidekick to Ross, and Phoebe would have flitted in and out of the group. Thank goodness they got their own moments to shine. Without them, Friends would have felt pretty flat. Could it be more depressing? 4. Rachel and Gunther living together. This almost happened. Gunther, who had the long-running, unrequited love for Rachel, was supposed to get the ultimate payoff when Rachel moved in with him. Imagine Rachel, fresh off her breakup with Ross, moving into the apartment of the guy who practically worshipped her? Yikes. Honestly, the writers made the right choice by scrapping that one. Gunther's awkward obsession worked best as a running gag, not a plotline. 3. Ross losing his mind over Elizabeth's pregnancy. Remember Ross dating his student, Elizabeth? Well, in one version of the story, things took a major turn when Elizabeth told Ross she was pregnant. This could have sent Ross into full crisis mode. 3 kids, 3 different women. Just as quickly as the plotline emerged, it was abandoned. The writers realized it would have complicated things too much, especially since they were already planning Rachel's pregnancy. Imagine the messy family tree that could have been. Even when the father of Elizabeth's child turned out to be someone else, things wouldn't have been so simple, so Ross and Rachel. 2. Chandler cheating on Monica? No way. Initially, we knew Chandler as someone personified.
I'm hopeless and awkward and desperate for love!
Things fell into place when he got together with Monica. Their relationship was the stuff of dreams, so it's shocking to hear that there was a time when the writers almost took it in a much darker direction. After their Vegas fight, Chandler was supposed to cheat on Monica with a hotel employee. Fortunately, Matthew Perry saved the day, wisely pointing out that the audience would never forgive him for that. This idea was dropped, and we got the Chandler and Monica as the perfect picture of a healthy relationship. 1. Friends moving to Minnesota. You've got to be kidding. Imagine Friends without New York City. The coffee shop, the apartments. Those were as much a part of the show as the characters themselves. But in an alternate universe, the writers had considered sending the group to Minnesota. Chandler would have been relocated, and the entire gang would follow him there. New setting, new friends, new apartments, and yes, probably still the same coffee, after a long quest. But let's be real, it's hard to picture Friends without the city that gave the show its irresistible vibe. There were, of course, more changes, like the Bing honeymoon plot that was never supposed to happen due to Chandler's jokes about bombs at the airport, and the security not finding it amusing. However, that had to be reshot after the 9/11 tragedy for obvious reasons. And there was that flimsy vision of introducing a 7th, more mature and older friend, Pat the cop. Also, we are happy that Friends writers realized Joey and Rachel's brief fling should just remain a bizarre detour to get us to the right endgame, rather than a drawn-out romance. Anyone could see the lack of chemistry. These ideas show just how much thought went into making Friends the pop culture phenomenon it is. The writers knew what worked and what didn't, and these behind-the-scenes creative decisions made all the difference. What do guys think? Drop a comment and subscribe to First Curiosity for more such videos. While we'll never know exactly what would have happened if these plotlines had made it to air, one thing is for sure. We will never pivot from this show.